What's good? It's Fevir. Today we're going to look at how Black Desert handles gear and gear progression, as it's quite different to other MMORPGs and it's very easy to feel lost and not quite know exactly what's going on. For the literal pieces of gear, we are looking in a large way at side grades, at horizontal progression. Really, they're just options. For armor sets, it's much less of a gear treadmill because everything is somewhat viable. None of them are really the best. They just give different types of stats, and maybe a newer player or someone fighting against monsters that they have a really hard time avoiding attacks, they might prioritize gear with HP and armor values. Someone who likes to rely on dodging abilities and iframes, well, maybe they want to increase stamina to let them, dodge roll more often. And maybe somebody who is solely focused on farming, they might want things that increase their movement speed or their carry weight or increase their luck. And even between veteran players, it's very common for different players of the same class to be using different sets of gear. Think Monster Hunter if you've played that. Now, for the most part, there are no restrictions on gear. At level 1, you can equip almost all the armor in the game, regardless of its perceived power level or whatever, and this means that the first weapons you get, the first armor you get, could easily become the weapons you use way down the line, killing high-end monsters. The gear itself is obtained through traditional means, bought from a vendor, from quests, from the market board, or dropped from a monster, but its power and value comes from the act of socketing, also called transfusion in the game, enhancing and upgrading, and much of this is done through your friendly neighborhood black spirit. So first, socketing. There are crystals that are found, bought, or created that give stats. Think gems in other games, and gear can have open slots. You insert the crystals into those slots, and bam, you receive stat bonuses. What is slightly different is that crystals aren't permanent, and they can break on death, and so at some point they most likely will need to be replaced. And this is also kind of a crossover type thing, but the game has these stats under the enhancement section in your character pane. Attack speed, casting speed, luck, etc. These are hard capped at 5, so you can only stack specific stats to a certain point, and consumables like food also will contribute to that same 5 stat count. So you use sockets to kind of plug holes in the gear to a certain point. You help balance the effectiveness of that gear in whatever you're trying to do. Second is enhancing. This is where the bulk of vertical power progression comes from. For weapons and armor, we'll be using items called blackstones, very valuable items I should add here. And so let's just run through one. I'm going to enhance these Dobart boots. So I put the Dobart boots and an armor blackstone in, and then it turns into Dobart boots +1, and now it has increased stats. And until the first content update, you will be able to get to +15. However, it's not just collect 15 blackstones and you're good. As soon as you make it to +7 for weapons and +5 for armor, a failure rate appears, and this is where it gets kind of convoluted. Each time you fail to enhance a weapon or armor, the blackstone you used, it's lost, and the max durability of that item is lowered. Also, each time you fail, you also gain what's known as a fail stack, which is a buff that increases the chance of your next enhancement to be a success. You also have the option to force an enhance. This requires more blackstones that scale upwards, but it also guarantees that the enhancement goes through. And so it might only take 5 to go from +7 to +8, but to go from +12 to +13, you're now looking at close to 100 blackstones, and that goes all the way up to +15. On top of that, forcing an enhance costs durability as well, and with those same enhance ranges, we're looking at starting at about 10 durability, going all the way up to costing like 50 to 60 durability to get those enhancements. Now, there are ways to build durability back up. You can repair 10 points of durability by repairing the item at a blacksmith by trading him a duplicate copy of the base item. So any duplicates of your gear are worth 10 durability points, and there's also an item called Fragments of Memory, which will increase your maximum durability by 1. You can also choose to extract the enhancement, where you will destroy the item, but you'll get back a number of blackstones equal to the enhancement value. So if you destroy a +7 item, you're going to get back 7 blackstones. For accessories, rings, necklaces, belts, etc., they can be enhanced as well, but they're slightly different. Instead, you enhance them by using the same base item. So to power up a Yoria earring, you would use another Yoria earring, and with 2 large differences to the armor and weapon enhancement. Here, the failure rate for accessories is very high, and they do not have a safe yet expensive way to do it, and if the enhancement fails, both accessories are destroyed, which is what you just saw on screen. And lastly, upgrading. This increases the quality type indicated by the colored border, so this is like rarity quality in most other MMORPGs. This also increases stats, this also increases the cost to repair and maintain, and this is mainly done in specific buildings in different cities, and I don't have them unlocked, so you might have to squint to read here, but at this particular building, I get access to the Kite Shield Forge, and through it, I can turn in my Kite Shield and some secondary materials to have it poop me out an upgraded version, and enhancements will remain through the process, but this is how you increase the rarity and is just another way to further progress your piece of equipment. So that's a basic rundown of how gear works in Black Desert. Through the main Black Spirit quest, you will get gear that cannot be enhanced at all or has an enhancement cap that isn't all the way to 15, and it'll have higher base stats. You might think that this is better than the gear that you have already gotten, but it isn't. Also, certain monsters and bosses can drop very powerful bind on character gear that skirts some of what I said, but at that point you'll probably have a good handle on these systems. My word of advice is to plan out your gear or know what you're going for before you even start going into the failure range of enhancements. The path to a plus 15 piece of gear is expensive and long, and you don't want to do it more than you need to. So I hope any of that helps. Until next time, this is Fevir. Peace.